First of all, I'd like to thank the Smart family. Man, this is awesome to have this amazing facility, and just long time coming, I guess. So it's nice to have, and for you all to have a consistent workspace where you can do what you need to do. But hey, we're excited. There's no better day than this one right here. That's for sure. This is a day that we look forward to every year. There is a ton that goes into getting to this point. I mean, a lot from January to this point, and then especially the last, probably 4 weeks from a staff standpoint. There's just a ton of preparation to get to this day, and then you finally get here. I mean, and it's just a ton of great energy in the building, a lot of excitement to just get started in the next phase of this year's journey as we start what we call prime time and get back on the field together as a group. So we're excited about it, looking forward to it, and glad you guys get a chance to put your eyes on these guys. We got a really, really good group. As I've said, y'all have heard me say a couple times, all the metrics in our program and indicators of success are at an all-time high for us. I mean, our guys have really done what they need to do, whether it be strength, speed, conditioning, our weights, our accountability, the leadership initiatives. All those things are great indicators of the type of team that you have, and I'm really proud of what this group has done to this point. So excited to get going. Do you know your hat is backwards? Okay. Just checking. I think it says Dallas, but it says salad going that way. Is there a subliminal message you're sending me? I'm trying to figure that out.
The former Cowboys quarterback Ben DiNucci, everybody knew him for the sidearm. It's his brand. So it's his hat. So.
Okay. All right.
He graduated from JMU.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I had to ask because it's like I just
Get your attention.
yeah, I can't help but notice that and make sure my eyes were seeing things straight.
You obviously signed a really talented freshman class. So how much out there today are your eyes kind of on those new guys and, trying to watch the entire team as a whole?
Well, on all of them, obviously we had 15 guys. I guess 16. Strecco came in with that group as well. So we had about 16 guys mid-year. So I certainly want to see where they are, as we go through transformation. They all got exposed in the spring to the way we do things, practice, installation, all those things. Now they get a chance to jump back in the summer at a different pace from a strength conditioning standpoint, a different pace of installation where they actually now can see themselves from the spring. And now you get a chance to bring in. So these guys, I mean, they look great. We got a lot of guys that have really made a lot of progress. So I want to see where that group is, from a really more mental standpoint than anything. It's easy to kind of see physically what they're doing, but I really want to see the results of the mental work that they've put in since January. And then obviously I want to see these new guys because this is my first time on the field with them in a competitive situation. So I'm excited to see these 12, 14 guys or so that came in here this summer.
What's your outlook for Harris Sewell? I mean, speaking of that group of mid-years.
Harris Sewell? Yeah. Oh, he's going to help us. We saw that in the spring. I mean, he's one of those just, especially in the offensive line, you don't get many offensive linemen that show up and it's kind of all the dots are connected. What I mean is like mentally they can grasp it. And then physically they can do what they need to do. Some guys are physically ready, but mentally it takes them a little while. Some guys are mentally really, really sharp, but physically they're a little behind. And that's just kind of the life of an offensive line. It's probably the hardest position to play, especially early. And we've had some guys that's what makes it so amazing when you see a guy like Mitch Hyatt. You see a guy like Blake Miller, Tremaine Ankrum, Sean Pollard. When you see guys come in and play as a freshman at that position, it's just more rare than it is the norm. So Harris, he's definitely I don't think he's gone backwards since the last time I was on the field with him in the spring. So I'm excited, and I don't have any doubt he's going to compete and have a chance to help us.
You mentioned wanting to see the receivers step up. I guess what does that look like from your point of view?
I think we got an incredibly deep and talented group. It's going to start with Bo. I mean, Bo is a great player. There's a reason why he could have gone wherever he wanted to go in the country, and he had a good freshman year. And then last year, unfortunately, battled through some injuries and things, and it limited him to a great start. But he's still a young player. He's going to be a junior, and man, he's really, really developed. I mean, if he stays healthy, he's going to have an amazing year. He is a really, really good player and a great kid, a great leader. He's super, super talented. He's fast. He's strong. He's polished. He really understands all the nuances of the position, and he's passionate about it. So, like a lot of these guys that if they're available, they're going to have a great year. And he's had a couple tough breaks for some injury standpoint, and so hopefully this is a year he stays healthy all year. And if he does, he's going to have a great year. It's going to start with Bo, and then Antonio, coming off a freshman All-American year. He's 195 pounds. He's locked in. I mean, he had an amazing freshman year, I think he's going to build on that. And then it's Cole and Adam, and then Speck. So that kind of those five, that's where it starts. If those five guys are available, we're going to score a bunch of points. So I'm excited about the group, and then we'll figure it out from there. Noble looks amazing. He's gotten his butt in shape from where he was in the spring. He's realized the type of endurance he's got to have. I think he was about 210 yesterday. He'd gotten up to kind of like 225, and he's in amazing shape. His conditioning is where it needs to be. That's part of what it's when you come in early, you kind of get exposed in some areas, and then what are you going to go do to get better? And he's super, super talented prospect who's just getting here. I mean, physically, he can do it. Mentally, I'm anxious to see if he's a guy that's made a step. And then it's Tyler Brown and Tink and my man Ronan, Stellato. Stelato's as talented a guy. We're not really counting on Stellato. He's a guy that if he's available, he'll be a player for us. But he to this point he hasn't really been available, and he's a little limited as we're starting out here with his hamstring. So I don't know, but I do know this about Troy. If he can ever do what he needs to do to stay on the field, he'll help this football team because he's a super talented kid. But so we've got 10 guys, man, that I think are ready to go, and then we got 2 or 3 walk-on guys like a Hampton Earl and Hamp Green and some guys, man, Kaka, that can help this team. So we got a good group.
What do you want to see leadership-wise from Cade coming into his sophomore year, first time as the starting quarterback for a whole season? Do you feel like he's a natural for that part of the role?
Oh yeah, I mean that's what he's been doing a long time. Just be the same guy every day. That's what I want to see from a leadership standpoint. Just be the same guy every day, and that's what I've seen since really he got here. He's a guy that's never satisfied. He's always striving. You love that about him. He is a vocal leader. He's an encourager. He's a very positive guy, and love that about him. You guys have spent time with him. He just kind of oozes, enthusiasm, and I love that about him. So all I want to see out of him is just be the same guy every day, and then respond. Respond to something great, and respond to something bad. You're going to have both, and that's really what we need from him.
I'm going to do my best to project from back here, Dabo. I know it's a concern for everyone.
What?
Your offense, is this something that's being implemented right now, or is it all in place and you guys are ready to work out the kinks?
No, I mean, this is our third round of installation, or implementation, if you want that word. This is our third round. So we installed a lot in the spring, kind of went at the pace of the guys, and got a lot done. Obviously, we had some guys that weren't available, though. And then, there's always a process in place with these guys in the summer through their skills and drills and meetings and so forth. So, they get it at a different pace, but hopefully it sinks in a little bit more. And then, so this will be kind of the third round. Now we'll certainly expand, and you really kind of build for the season during camp, and so this is the most amount of practice that we get at any given time. We don't have a 20-hour rule. You're not limited on your meetings, things like that. So we have to get a lot done. And so you try to build a really good foundation in the spring and summer, and then you kind of put it all together in fall camp. Because once you get into these game weeks, you've got to be able to, have your base and then be able to build on it week in and week out from a game plan standpoint. But yeah, no, we're in a good place. We're certainly not starting from scratch. Now, obviously, we got some guys that just got here, but they've been here a few weeks and they've had a chance to get a little bit of it. But the majority of our team was here since January. So I think installation-wise, we're in a good place.
Is there something that needs to happen during fall camp for this offense to come together and be ready for game 1 and game 2, or is it inevitable to still be working out kinks when games start?
Well, what needs to happen is we need to show up with great focus and commitment every day, and we need to learn and grow from, the success and the mistakes of the day before, and just kind of build throughout camp. That's part of it. And obviously, we need a little luck, as well to stay healthy in a couple spots for sure. But regardless, we got 31 days until we play. And regardless of how much we practice or whatever, we don't get to play football until Labor Day night. You saw a game last night, I think. I didn't get to see it, but I think there was a game on last night. You'll see probably a game this weekend. There's a reason why the pros, play preseason games for that reason right there, because they haven't played football. It's a long time to go. I don't care how much you practice, there's no simulation of playing the game. And even when you get 2 scrimmages, that's all we get, you're still going against each other. And there's a lot of familiarity, things like that. So when you play an opener, to me, the opener is always the hardest game to prepare for, because it's the most amount of time, that you've been off. You really don't know who they are. There's always new coaches. There's always new players. You're looking at tape from all kind of places that isn't necessarily the personnel that you're going to play against. And then there's new personnel, so you're watching them at other places. And then there's the unknown, because you don't have any, once you get into the season, you just kind of see 2 or 3 games. You get to see a little bit of an identity, and you get a little bit of a feel personnel-wise, et cetera. Openers, you don't get that. And then you're playing a really, really good team in Duke, who's got a ton of confidence and a ton of guys back. There's always challenges, because, again, when you get in a game week, you only got so much time. You got about 17 hours throughout the week to get ready with your team, because you get 20 hours and 3 of those hours is game day. But right now you've got months. We've been working on our, first few opponents since the spring. And guess what? They've been doing that for us too. So there's always kinks. There's always things. It never is perfect. Opener. The key is just find a way to win the opener. All right. And then you go from there.
Any reaction to the FSU news this week, kind of talking about their place in the ACC, the realignment today, Oregon, Washington to the Big Ten, just kind of Clemson's place in all that going on with college
football? It's a lot going on, man, for sure. And certainly appreciate your question on that. It's obviously there's, the administrators, they got a lot happening out there. It's really, my job is get the team ready to play. That's my job. And my job is, I don't get caught up in all that stuff. Honestly, it's just the next domino to where it's all going. It just is what it is. I don't know if it's going to be this year, or mid-season, or next year, or 3 years from now, but eventually we're going to have I don't know what the number is. It'll be 40, 50, 54 teams, something like that, and it's going to be a 14, 16 team playoff type of deal. That's where it's going to be, and it's going to be whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the league's going to be called, or what the divisions or whatever, but that's where it's going to go eventually. So, there just seems to be these steps going there. There's obviously a lot of narratives and things like that, and obviously, from a lot of conversation about our league and TV contracts and things like that. And listen, those things are important. Obviously, that's what administrators do. They plan. Our president, we got a great president, and people are always evaluating the landscape. Things change. Just wait till next week. Something's going to be different, right? That's kind of where college football is right now. But at the end of the day, you know, we spend a lot of time focusing on what we don't have. But I focus on what we do have. And, you know, we've got, I think we get 85 scholarships. And as long as we get those 85 scholarships, you know, we're going to be awesome here at Clemson. You know, there's a lot of talk, and again, not to minimize those things, because they're, you know, there's long-term implications of things, and it's very important competitively and things like that. You don't want to minimize those things. But I'm going on my 15th year here, and so there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of conversation, there's a lot of narratives. But guess what? It really hadn't changed a whole lot since it was 15 years ago. I mean, from my perspective. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. And that's the administrators and all that. They got jobs to do. But from my perspective, my job is to take what we got and go beat what they got. And honestly, in my 15 years, there's always been a gap. We've never had the top TV contract, ever. I think from an athletic budget standpoint, I think in my time here at Clemson, we've been somewhere, I think we were 17 this year. We've been somewhere from 17 to 40, depending on the year. I think that's where we've been. You guys that follow us, y'all know we've never had a number one recruiting class. We usually are somewhere around 8 to 14 or so. That's usually where we always are. And so, again, not to minimize those things, the conversation of those things, but, man, I don't control any of that. And it's a complete waste of my time to worry about that. My focus is on Clemson. My focus is, and it's always been that way. And again, you know, what do we have? It's been that way from day one. And listen, you know, if it was, and those things are important, but they're not the end all be all. There's always been a gap here at Clemson. There's never been a year that I've been here that there hasn't been this gap. And so the other thing we have at Clemson is we have IPTAY, the greatest athletic fundraising organization in the country. We have incredibly passionate fans. All right, we have a brand that is second to none. We may not have the big market, but just check the TV ratings when the Tigers play over the last decade. You're going to see 4 or 5 of the most viewed games in college football have going to be Clemson. So, but all these years, I mean, when we played LSU in 2012, guess what? We didn't have the same TV contract. We definitely didn't have the same athletic budget. We didn't have the same amount of 5 stars and 4 stars. But you still got to play the game, right? If it was just those things, well, then it would be easy to declare a winner every single year. You still have to play the game. You still have to. It's still people. It's still culture. It's still, you know, getting a group of people with a singleness of purpose, one heartbeat, that love each other, love where they are, and love what they do. It still comes down to those things. None of that stuff changes. And so, you know, I have no idea what the future holds. I have no idea. But I do know that, man, Clemson is a special place, and it's going to always be a special place. And, you know, whatever administrators decide, my job is to go put a football team together and go win. We're 3-1 against Ohio State. We will never have an equal alumni base to Ohio State. You know, I mean, one of the greatest programs in the country. You know, we certainly don't have the same budget or whatever, but we've been able to compete, and we always have. So again, that doesn't minimize the importance of, you know, what's going on in the league and what's going on in the landscape of college football. I know there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of narratives, there's a lot of things that are out there. And I appreciate your question, but I don't control any of that. All right, what I control is going out there at practice today and freaking getting ready to try to win the opener, and getting 85 scholarship guys in a group of 135 total, you know, on one heartbeat with a singleness of purpose, you know, completely committed, you know, day in and day out to being and doing our best. You know, that's what I focus. And whatever we have, loading it up and go see if we can beat whoever we play and what they got. And, you know, we've won 2 national championships. And, against one of the greatest organizations in the history of college football. And in neither one of those games did we have the same amount of 5 stars and 4 stars. Neither one of those games did we have the same TV contract. Neither one of those games did we have the same athletic budget. All right? So, again, I know there's a business side of it, and I understand the longevity and the long term, but that's what the administrators do. So, you know, I mean, I'm not going to come in here every week and answer questions about, Lord, you know, we need to have good practice today. And that's the best way I can answer your question. And it's just focus on what we control. And these guys, man, you know, got to go play the game. We got 85 scholarships. As long as we got that, there are going to be a bunch of great football players that come play for the Tigers. And we'll see what happens.